and a final thought that we need to hold on to. So the beautiful thing is this: as forests age, the way fire spreads is that it spreads through the canopies of plants. It spreads along the litter on the ground as small flames, but then it gets into the canopies of plants. And as those plants get taller, they can reach a point where fire can't ignite them if they're tall enough. And when they're not ignited, they slow the fire because they slow the wind underneath them. So as a forest gets older and more established, it calms the fire underneath it. Now, there may be exceptions to this. I haven't studied everywhere, but I've got rock solid evidence on a huge number of places now. We know that forests create safe places, and as the trees get taller, as their canopies come together, they create shelter, and that then creates more niches for a greater diversity of species to come into that space. And they may not all be plants, we may be talking smaller things like fungi and lichens and insects, but you get this diversity, and it makes this into what I think of as a forest of refuge. And when something comes in and it breaks a chink in the armour of this forest, when a storm blows trees down, when a fire kills some trees, what happens is the colonising species come into that space and they rebuild and grow fast, and while they are regrowing, the forest is defenceless against fire. It is far more flammable while those plants are small, close to the ground and able to burn. But those plants grow fast so they get up there. And this is why it is essential when we look around the forests now and we see them thick with wattles and thick with regrowth. That is not something gone wrong. We need to understand this. That is not a problem. That is the forest restoring itself. Don't pick the scab, let the wound heal. So there's the beautiful thing. Here's the ugly thing. When you clear that country, you make it more flammable when you break those defences. Since we invaded this country, we have broken the defences of nearly all the forests across the area. We have cleared and logged and burnt our way through the forests of Australia, and we have broken down their defences so that now, instead of a landscape of forest with individual little wounds here and there that are healing, we have got a landscape of wounds. And it is completely vulnerable to disasters like the one that happened a few years ago. Now, we only have to turn the radio on to hear that now the worst people of our species are starting to rule the world. That we have a move of people who are here to pillage, who will move through the landscape like rabbits eating every last blade of grass so that the kangaroos starve and the wind blows the topsoil away in a dust storm. We are moving into some very dark times. But what happens with forests of refuge is that you'll see when a fire moves through, the landscape looks black, it looks like complete devastation. You move out into that landscape and you will see pockets of green. And they are the forests of refuge. They are the small places of refuge that have withstood the storm. This is essential because we can't stop the scale of the forces. We may be able to stop an individual bulldozer, and hopefully Forest Corp is one of the bulldozers that we can stop. But there is a tide of people who think like a plague. We have people who need their share prices to increase. And so whatever the damage, The ultimate good is that my share price goes up, and so there is a force to destroy. And when you are built on this idea of perpetual growth in a finite world, you are accelerating at a brick wall, and one day you will hit. We won't stop them, they will stop themselves. That system cannot perpetuate. And so when that happens, when that storm comes through and we see the sky turn black at 3 in the afternoon so that we've got to put our headlights on and the sky is thick with smoke and red with flame, and we know it's coming through, we have one job. And this is the final thing. I want you to hold on to this. Our one job is to ourselves, because we are species here. We are no different to other species. We are part of this forest. Our one job is to be like those trees and to stand and to shelter those underneath us, the species, the vulnerable people, the communities around us. We need to be shelter. We need to be forests of refuge and shelter the landscape behind us. Do what we can. Until a bulldozer takes us out, we stand there and we shelter those forests. Because after that fire comes through, we will be the pockets of green left standing. And what happens then is that the birds that sheltered in our branches fly out, drop the seeds, and rebuild the land. So let's stay standing. Thank you.